Welcome back to the Nothing Better podcast, where we have nothing better to do, so we're reading Reddit stories. My name is Charlie. I'm here with my brother Sam. Say hi, Sam.
Well, hello there.
I have a fun theme for us today. Some good stories.
Oh, do tell, do tell.
We're talking about the biggest assholes on Reddit. The worst of the worst. Whether it's the person posting, whether it's someone they're talking about. These people are the worst I could find. So I thought a fun game would be if we try to pit them against each other. And by the end of this episode, we figure out who is the absolute worst.
The biggest asshole.
The biggest asshole.
Okay. I dig it.
So what's a good story for us to start on? Like, this will be our launching point, right? You know, to set the tone. Am I the asshole for making my girlfriend leave the country? This is my first time posting on Reddit, so forgive any errors or if the format's weird. I also can't give too many details, as my girlfriend and a lot of close friends are avid Redditors. I, 28M, have been dating my girlfriend, 27F, for 5 years. We met in college, where she was an international student. She started working after graduating, while I am currently doing a master's. Her company was sponsoring her visa until they got bought out and she was laid off. She was given a limited time to find a new employer to sponsor her a new visa, and it really stressed her out. She was applying to jobs every day and did a lot of practice interviews, but unfortunately wasn't able to get an offer. She really wanted to stay since she loves the place, and I would still be here in the country. While I was out with a buddy, he suggested that I sponsor her visa, since we had been in a relationship for quite some time. I love her, and I didn't want to see her so stressed out. I told her about the idea, and she was hesitant at first. She said she didn't want me to think that she was with me so I could be her way to a permanent residence/citizenship. I wanted her to stay, though, and I wanted to do it. So we consulted an immigration consultant and decided to do the paperwork on our own. She was the one who mostly looked into the stuff we needed to prepare. She still applied for jobs, but not as urgently as she used to. It took a while since we never really had anything joint. We lived together and just split the bills on our own. She had enough saved up to be okay for a while. I had to fill out some paperwork to be her sponsor, and I felt uneasy about it. I did want her to stay, but it felt like it was too much. Eventually, she was done with her part, and all that was left was mine. I finally told her that I didn't want to go through with it, and she was very upset and asked why. I told her that I suggested the idea because I didn't want to see her stressed out all the time, and that I eventually realized that I shouldn't have to be responsible for her. We had a long talk where I told her that I still want to be in a relationship with her, but I don't want to be forced to be responsible for her. And she said she was very hurt by what I said. Things changed, and she didn't really talk to me after. She kept applying for jobs and attending interviews, but eventually her visa expired. Before she left, I told her I love her, and I would really want her to come back. However, she told me that she sees me differently after the things I told her. It has been a few weeks since she left. I miss her cooking, her presence, and being able to spend time with her. I still want a future with her. However, our close friends have been telling me that I was an asshole, and I disagree. I think they're biased. So here I am, asking what you all think. Am I the asshole?
Oh, God. What? How can you...
think... You go.
It's like, there's no thinking of here. It's not like, oh, am I? You are. There's no...
I think the worst part of this...
Wait. I know exactly what you're going to say. Ready? On three. 1, 2, 3. The cooking.
He convinced her.
Oh.
No, because I'm saying, like, she didn't want to. Because she was like, hey, I think this is a bad idea. And he was like, no, 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 no. I want to do this. And then he decides, like, never mind, you were right. Because, like, she was applying for jobs. She was looking for stuff.
No, the worst part, the icing on the cake was like, I miss her cooking.
I miss her cooking. Yeah, the cooking first, and then her presence and being able to spend time with her.
God.
You want to know what this reminds me of?
What?
This is like someone who wants to adopt a dog, and so they go out to a shelter and they adopt one, and immediately the first time the dog poops on the carpet, they return the dog, and they're like, never mind. I wanted a warm teddy bear. I didn't know this was a living creature.
I hate to say, this guy only made one attempt to make himself look in a better light. And that moment was when he went, yeah, so when I signed the paper, she stopped looking for jobs as avidly. When he said that, I'm like,
well, I disagree. I think, like, yeah, she was still applying for jobs, but now she had to do other paperwork and research this. Like, that's your fault, my man.
like, that was just one attempt to make it look like, oh, maybe she's just using me. No, bro, it's you. It's you.
And the worst part is, I 100% believe this is true. Because I have a lot of friends who are internationals, whether they were international students that I went to school with, or I have an international roommate right now who is really stressed out over a work visa. Because if they don't find a job in their field, they have to leave the country. It's a very harsh and stressful system. Here's another part. The part that made him decide he didn't want to do it was that there was paperwork. Like, dude, what did you think this was gonna be? Like, you stand up in the middle of, like, town square and be like, I vouch for her! 1 green card, please! And that would be it?
God, and the word, and it just keeps getting rid of, like, I still want to maintain a relationship even though we're out of the country. I told her I didn't want her to live with me and stay with me, but I still want a relationship. I miss her. I miss her a lot.
I miss her cooking, bro. Dude, because here's the exact line. I had to fill out some paperwork to be your sponsor, and I felt uneasy about it. I did want her to stay, but it felt like too much. How do you expect her to, like, be in a serious relationship with you if you can't commit like that? Like, and it's not like if you had never offered, I don't think this happens. It's the fact that you offered, she said it was a bad idea, and you pressed her. You convinced her. Like, she said she didn't want me to think that she was with me just so I could be her way to a permanent citizenship to the country. I wanted her to stay, and I wanted it to do it. This is really just like, you like the idea of being her knight in shining armor, and then you realize that you would have to put effort towards it, and so you tried to back out.
At least this girl, I'm assuming, broke up with this man. God, it's...
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
like, it's just like, how can you... The worst thing is, he thought this in his head, where it's like, am I the asshole? Let's go ask Reddit. Let's go ask Reddit. Then he typed it out on...
Every single one of our friends says I'm the asshole.
Yeah, no. He hears it from his friends that he's the asshole. He's like, am I though? In my head, I'm not. Then he's like, I'm gonna ask Reddit. Writes it down. Reread, probably proofreads it, right? Reads his own writing. Still thinks he's not the asshole. Posts it on the internet. I feel like it... One of those first 3 steps, you go, maybe I am, but nah. God.
It's like I said, you know, there's a universe where it's like, if she asked him, like, hey, would you sponsor me? And he says, hey, I'm not comfortable with that. That's fine. That's valid. You have to be prepared that the relationship might end, but you're not the asshole in that situation. It's the fact that you offered. This was your idea. She said, I don't think that's good. And then you kept pressing, and then you backed out of it. That makes you the asshole.
That 100% makes you the asshole.
Like, not wanting to be responsible for her citizenship is fine. That's valid. That doesn't make you an asshole. But taking back what you said after putting in months of research, then you're the asshole. And Sam, they were together for 5 years.
Wait, you shitting me?
No. 5 years. I, 28M, have been dating my girlfriend, 27F, for 5 years. 5 years is enough to make a damn commitment.
That makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe if it's like a 6 month, maybe even up to, I'd say even in 2 years you could go, like, I can understand the guy not being ready, right? Yeah, you can still a dick, but it's like,
At
5 years?
If you're dating for 5 years, you know whether or not... I feel like you've got to have at least a rough idea if marriage is in your future after 5 years of dating.
Good
Especially
Lord.
like if you're 28, 27, 5 years, it's like it's time to start thinking about the next step in our relationship and lives. And you just said no.
God, that's gonna be a hard one to beat. Jeez.
Yeah, so by default, he's up there. He's number one by default right now. He is the biggest asshole of tonight.
You know what scares me the most is that's the first one you read. Oh God, I do not want to hear the other ones.
You want to hear the next title?
Hit me with it.
This is from the subreddit Nuclear Revenge,
I've not
where
heard of that.
it's stories about taking revenge on someone for something, but you're doing the nuclear option, right?
Path of
I
No Return.
ruined a marriage and my family for revenge. I've always been the black sheep of the family. Cousins grew up to be doctors, professors, creatives, and whatever else. Meanwhile, I've managed to just make a humble, stable, passive income through some business decisions. Nothing fancy, but I can afford a 1-bedroom in New York City and live comfortably with a part-time job in a cafe. Everyone in the family, including my own parents, judge me harshly for not pushing myself to do what my cousins do, especially my one cousin. We'll call them Randy. Think the stereotypical dude bro, who got rich thanks to working for his dad. Multiply that by 10, and you got Randy. Anyways, he always gave me the most shit, and eventually I just tuned him out, because I get to enjoy my life with my significant other, work part-time, and still afford what I want. So, to cut the bullshit short, Randy has a wife and 2 kids. He also had a mistress. I found this out because one day I was walking through the city and I saw him walking down the street with a woman who clearly wasn't his wife, arms around each other. I checked Facebook and saw he had indeed posted about visiting a bagel shop in the city while on a business trip that morning. So I decided, fuck it, let me see how this plays out. I followed them for 5 hours. I snapped several photos, one of them going into a hotel together. I held on to these and waited until Christmas that year. About 6 months later, I decided to unceremoniously drop printed photos in front of everyone at the table before dinner and made sure to get his wife to see them. Cue screaming and fighting. I actually got a black eye out of it. It was Randy's dad who did this, though, not him. Cue the police arriving. A lot of questioning. My significant other and I get kicked out of the house, and we head back home after talking to the cops one last time. The aftermath. Beside Randy's wife and another cousin who hates Randy, my entire family cut me off entirely for several years. Whatever. Even my parents had always expressed disappointment in me for not applying myself fully, so no real loss there. Randy got divorced and lost full custody of the kids after threatening his ex. The family occasionally tries to guilt me into apologizing, but my response is some variation of, not gonna apologize for outing a cheating C-word, and I'm promptly blocked for another few months. My significant other and Randy's ex-wife are good friends, and the kids call me uncle. It's nice having a family who actually loves me unconditionally for once. My significant other and I got married, and that's when my family last tried to get into contact with me, and were actually nice for once. Seeing me moving on, I guess, eats at them. I don't know. Maybe realizing their punching bag is gone for good. That's it, really. living my best life now with a good family as opposed to a shit one.
Damn, this person might be a psychopath.
What do you think on it? What do you think? And then I'll tell you what I think.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely right to out a cheater, right? But he definitely wanted, the word nuclear is correct. He could have just told Randy's wife about this, but the brother instead took 5 hours out of his day. He didn't follow. He stalked Randy and this mistress
and then
person.
waited 6 months.
But the biggest thing is, like, oh, they went into a hotel, so yeah. But it's like, after one day, you take that conclusion, you know? But oh my, I mean, Randy does not sound like the best of person. It sounds like he was an asshole to our guy the
arms
entire
around
time.
each other. Here's the thing. You definitely, like, I think the OP also sucks. I think the original poster here is also a huge asshole. Because, one, just the tone of the way he writes about things. Like, I guess it bothers them to see me moving on. I don't know. Clearly you haven't moved on. You wrote an entire Reddit post about it. So, you haven't. But two, like, you are being an asshole to Randy's significant other. To Randy's wife. Because you knew about the cheating, and then you said nothing about it for 6 months.
Oh my god, it was.
You should have told her right away. And then you did it on Christmas, which not only probably humiliated and embarrassed her in front of your entire family, but also ruined it for the kids.
Oh my god, the kids. No.
Yeah. Like, you went out of your way to make a show out of it. Because you forget, like, yes, you ruined a marriage. Randy is a piece of shit. Randy's a cheating bastard. But you did his wife dirty, who is innocent in all this.
Can you imagine being that kid? You go down to sit at dinner, and then on your placemat or on your plate, it's not Christmas dinner. It's not a present. It's a picture of your father and another woman.
The kids and the wife are the victim here, and they're a victim of Randy, who cheated on them, and you, who humiliated them.
Yeah, now that I think about it, OP definitely deserved to be punched in the face by the dad. Because we don't know if the dad punched the face for Randy or the mom, but still, that...
Yeah, and well, it seems like his significant other and the wife are on good terms. But it definitely feels like, man, you were not in the right here. Especially because, like, yeah, Randy sounds like a douchebag, but it seems like you took it very personally.
And it sounds like he was kind of trying to get back at his parents as well, for always going like, oh, Randy's better, he's this, he's that, he's that. And it was him trying to prove to his parents,
it sounds like you have it sounds like they have a complex.
Yeah.
Like, maybe this is because, like, you know, we're from an Asian family, so we're kind of used to stuff like this. But, like, yeah, cousins grow to be doctors, professors, creatives, and whatever else. Meanwhile, I'm just making a humble, stable, passive income through some business decisions. Anyone who says I make passive income through some business decisions, that means you got some money from your parents and you invested in stocks. Or you sell drugs.
Or you sell drugs.
Maybe I'm wrong about this because I don't know them. Definitely doesn't sound like you're this saint you're making yourself out to be. This feels very petty.
We're just like, what in your right mind you think? Where it's just like, nah, I'm not going to tell his wife for 6 months. And goes,
oh yeah,
I'm going to ruin Christmas probably for the rest of every Christmas
rest of time. Every Christmas
now.
Oh, I didn't even think about every Christmas from now on. That's what they're going to think of. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Okay, where do you rank them? Above or below kicking my girlfriend out of the country?
Above or below? I gotta go above. Personally, this is 1 and this is 2. Because, like, it affected getting the girlfriend, that affected one person. This but destroyed a family.
The kids.
This destroyed a family.
I don't think destroying, because I think that's a great way of putting it. Like, you should have discreetly been like, hey, you seem like a nice person. This is what Randy did. Okay. You ready for the next story?
Yep. So do you agree that that one's number one?
I think the OP from that is above that. So I think this one might top it though. I think
Okay.
this next one might be the bigger asshole. And I think the audience will agree because it involves pets.
Oh no.
Am I the asshole for setting boundaries with my neighbor? Sounds pretty innocent. I, 27F, moved into a new place a few months ago. My neighbor, Ashley, 20s F, shares a back fence with me. It's a chain link fence, so there's not much privacy. Ashley has this big orange cat that she lets outside to hang out in the yard. I asked about it when I first moved in and pointed out that it was dangerous, and she just waved it off and said the cat was old and he would never leave her yard. She said that the cat just wants to lay in the grass and he won't bother you. Well, he bothers my dog Milo, so he bothers me too. To be fair, he doesn't come into my yard, but he does lay near the fence, and my dog hates it.
What?
When I first moved in, the dog barking was enough to scare him. But now the cat has gotten used to Milo, so he doesn't run away. It's awful. Ashley works from home, so she just leaves her back door open and he goes in and out as he pleases. So I can hardly let Milo out at all during the day, or otherwise he's freaking out and barking at the cat, and that smug little shit just rolls around. He does it on purpose. I know how cats are. I've started spraying the cat with a hose
Jesus.
whenever I see him outside, to teach him to stay inside. And it was working pretty well. Until Ashley came outside yelling yesterday and demanding to know why her cat was wet. I said I didn't know. But she said she saw me spray him with the hose. So I had to tell her the truth. Lady, if your first instinct is to lie, you know what you did is wrong.
I don't know. Is it like I don't know, or I don't know, like you know that like
yeah, like
she knows.
you're sassing her. I told her that the cat was bothering my dog, and since she was no help, I had to take matters into my own hands, and that next time I would just call animal control and report a roaming cat. She called me a dumb bitch and went inside. And when she let the cat out later on, she came out and sat with him. My boyfriend came over last night and told me I was going to make a ton of problems for myself by acting like an asshole. But I don't agree with him. Cats don't belong outside. And he was making problems for me.
Oh God! What was this?
Well,
on,
so Sam,
yes.
First question. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Was this on Am I the Asshole?
Yeah. So my first question, I guess, is do you think she's the asshole?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of nuance to this, you could say. A bit of both sidesism, because yes, she was torturing an animal that wasn't on her property. But on the other hand, you know how cats are.
Charlie, no cats go outside. There's only such thing as indoor cats. I think we established that.
Also, like, it's pretty clear that, like, your dog is untrained. Like, your problem isn't with the cat. Your problem is with your own dog.
It's the frickin' dog.
It's the dog. You're torturing it. What? It's also like you're threatening to call animal control and report a roaming cat on someone else's property, probably with like a collar on.
Like, what are they gonna do?
This feels like someone who just, for whatever reason, hates cats with a passion. Have you ever met someone like that? Like someone who's so anti-dog, it just doesn't make sense.
You know, I'm allergic to cats, and I don't even hate them that much.
So the top comment.
Oh, Lord.
You're the asshole. So let's recap. A pet owner who lived there first has a pet that spends time in their yard, and you don't like it. So you physically abuse the animal and then make a threat to call animal control with a false report.
Oh no.
And like I said, the fact that they came out, confronted you, and you lied about it. You said, I don't know. If you're lying about it, you have to know that what you're doing is wrong. Right? You have to know you're in the wrong.
I think this is our first Karen.
A first Karen of the series.
Wow. That is.
And here's the thing. I hope that she gets like kicked out. This feels illegal. This feels like animal abuse.
You know she was one step away from poisoning food and throwing it into the yard. She was one step away from that.
Yeah.
I know those just hose isn't working. Let me just drop some treats on the other side, lace it with some rat poison.
So I don't have pets, but like you and I have family pets. Our parents have 2 dogs, and we live very close by, and we visit them. If anyone messes with our dogs, it's nuclear warfare time. Like that is like, there is no mercy in my heart if you mess with my dogs.
And I love how like she only mentions the other lady once, the cat owner, and the cat owner already seems like an awesome person. She said 2 words the entire story, and it's like, you're a bitch.
You dumb bitch. What? She acted so offended about it. Like, because you can tell that's where she thought, like, oh, well, this'll get Reddit on my side. She called me a dumb bitch for spraying her cat with a hose.
Repeatedly.
But yeah, like, just her language, like, he does it on purpose. I know how cats are. In her defense, 100% the cat's doing it on purpose. Well, once he knows the dog can't get to him, the cat's gonna mock him. We had when we first moved to California, we had a dog, and we had this pool back in this temporary house we were staying at, and a gang of cats came by and pushed our dog into the pool, and one of our neighbors rescued him.
Oh my lord, I remember that.
Yeah, cats are crazy. But it's not an excuse to spray them with a hose.
Yeah, I'm allergic to cats. And those sons of bitches know I'm allergic and I don't want to touch them. Every cat I've ever met comes up and rubs themselves on me, knowing that if I touch my eyes now after they've touched my hand, I will not be able to breathe or see. And they know it.
They know it, so they have like a third sense of like...
But that does not give you the right to spray their cat with water on their property. Well, ranking it, it's like, this triggers the hell out of me, but if they poisoned the cat or did something like that, I'd say it'd be much worse. I think it's got to be number 3 out of the 3 ones we've talked about.
Really?
Nah.
What if it was Bosco or Momo? I see you playing with your little stuffed dog right now.
I know. I'm looking into the eyes.
What's the answer?
It's got to be number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because water isn't that bad. You know, like if it was
that can hurt a cat if it's an old cat though.
Yeah. If it's like throwing rocks or poisoning them, like that would be up there. But it's just water. It's like a warning. Mm-hmm. But that's the problem.
I'll let you rank it at 3. So if you all think it should be higher and you're upset at that, be mad at Sam and not me.
Yeah.
I'll throw you under the bus a bit there.
Wow.
How about we continue with cats? We have another cat story, Sam. This time from r/relationship advice. My vegan girlfriend wants me to get rid of my cat.
You know, right when you start with vegan, oh no.
I've been dating my girlfriend for 7 months. She's amazing, and we're super compatible in a lot of ways. She is an outspoken vegan, and she made it clear at the start of our relationship that it was important to her that any potential partner had similar cruelty-free values. Me, already being a pescatarian, didn't have much difficulty transitioning to a fully plant-based diet. My girlfriend was proud of me for going cruelty-free, and everything seemed well off. We became the vegan couple on our college campus. And then there's my cat. Mittens.
Not Mittens.
I've had her for 3 years, and I adore her. She's such a sweet and cuddly cat. However, my girlfriend was always a little apprehensive around her, and she blamed it on not growing up around cats. After a while, we sort of made a tacit agreement to mostly hang out at her apartment instead of mine, so Mittens never really came up again. Fast forward through all of this quarantine stuff. My girlfriend and I have spent a lot of time together during this pandemic, and we've started talking about taking our relationship to the next level. We began seriously looking at either buying a new apartment together or having one of us move in with the other. However, after a lot of talking and planning, my girlfriend sat me down and dropped a bombshell on me. She said that with this next phase of the relationship, she did not see a future with me unless I was willing to give away Mittens.
Not Mittens!
She said that she believed owning a cat is unconscionable for vegans because they hunt mice and eat meat. And because the very act of owning a pet is a violation of vegan principles. I was stunned. I told her that I was absolutely not willing to give up Mittens, and she had no choice but to eat meat. So I was reducing harm as much as possible by buying reputable brands of cat food. Plenty of vegans own cats and think along those same lines. My girlfriend got mad and said, "How much flesh does your cat eat? How many animals died to make all that food? Would you be okay if that was human flesh?"
I knew something bad was gonna happen when it's not your girlfriend, it's your vegan girlfriend. I could already tell something was running about, Charlie.
This is like the stereotypical vegan who doesn't understand what being vegan is. Like, you realize even if every human in the world stopped eating meat, animals would still eat meat. It's actually unhealthy for cats to go vegan. They're carnivores.
Like, I read all these news stories about like dogs taken away from owners because owners trying to force a plant-based diet on them.
Yeah,
and the dogs
unhealthy.
Are literally starving and dying.
It's sad.
Well,
I got mad and told my girlfriend that I would have really appreciated her telling me about her cat opinions before we got serious. She went on and on about cats killing animals. I ended the conversation there. I was so angry that I left my girlfriend's apartment, and I snuggled with Mittens when I got home.
As he should.
As he should! I love cuddly cats. However, the mood soured a bit when my girlfriend sent me a link to a Reddit thread advocating for the extinction of domestic cats. I think it goes without saying I am not going to get rid of my cat. However, it pains me to think that an otherwise wonderful relationship could be ending because of a difference in ideology. I don't even really understand where my girlfriend is coming from because, like I said, a lot of vegans own cats. Now, granted, cat ownership can be a controversial topic in vegan circles, and I probably would not have gotten a cat if I had been a vegan at the time, but I have Mittens now, and she deserves to eat. I've talked to some of my vegan and vegetarian friends, and they all think my girlfriend has lost her mind. Some have suggested that it's not about Mittens, and my girlfriend just wanted an excuse to end the relationship. They probably don't understand why I haven't broken up with her yet, but I care about my girlfriend so much. I'd hate for this bizarre curveball to be the end of a beautiful thing. I want to try and work it out somehow. Where do I go from here?
Bro, no. You take Mittens, you get out of there.
It's because, let me say this. I don't want to defend her. I want to make that very clear. I think cats are carnivores. Not eating meat for them is unhealthy. But there are many different types of vegans. Because there are the types of vegans where it's about, something for the environment. So there are some people who are vegan for just health reasons. There are some people who are vegans because they believe it's cruel. Or I have some friends who they say it's about consent. That an animal cannot consent to being livestock. That it was raised just to be meat, and that is unfair. And so some would say if an animal was killed in an accident, or you come across a animal that died of natural causes, they would not have as much issue consuming that meat.
Yeah.
And so there are a variety of different types of vegans. I think many of them would agree that a cat being vegan goes against nature.
I mean, we got two things here, Charlie.
Yeah.
Millions of years of evolution of cats eating meat. Angry girl, all things should eat plants because vegan.
That is a tough scale when you weigh them against each other like that. Here's the thing. Okay, if I had to guess, this feels like it's about control. Like, she seems like a very demanding partner. Like, by itself, being like, hey, any partner of mine, I also want to be vegan and share those principles. That's not weird on its own. But then also being like, you got to get rid of your cat. Sorry, it goes against vegan principles. It's like, well, now that's different. And it's sort of like you recontextualize that before. Because I know vegans who don't exclusively date vegans. I know vegetarians who don't exclusively date vegetarians. But her logic doesn't make sense, Sam. Because if you give the cat away, it's not like it's consuming less meat. It's just consuming it somewhere else.
Bro, I got a great idea for an app. Vegan dating. Only vegans. It'll be a 0.01% demographic. I bet it'll be a hit. Vegansonly.com.
It's called Vegly. Vegan dating app. It has 1,400 reviews on the App Store.
Wait, you're kidding me. It's a real thing? I thought you were making that up.
Oh, it has 10,000 votes on the Google Play Store. Dude, of course this exists.
Oh
do you know how many vegans there are in Silicon Valley?
Or people who say they're vegan? No way there's that many vegans.
There are a lot of vegans.
No way they're not slipping some steak or chicken.
I know, well, it's a big cultural thing for some places, right?
Oh, no, for sure.
Like, I know, like, a lot of my, like, Indian friends are, like, either vegetarian or vegan.
I like, well, she says vegan principles. And it's like, fuck's this list? Like, do I have to, like sign something like Scott Pilgrim? You know, like, become vegan? It's like, where can I, like, read this list before I become vegan?
Yeah, he brings up a great point. It's like, you should have told me that this was an issue before we got serious.
Yeah.
Oh. God, I wish I could know what happens next.
I do too. But, I mean, so...
Update!
Oh, God. No. No.
First of all, let me say, thank you for everyone who offered me advice. There were over 7,000 comments on my original post, and I have dozens of personal messages. Frankly, I'm pretty overwhelmed with the magnitude of the response. I did my best to read most of everyone's comments, but obviously I couldn't get to everything. I would also like to preempt this post. As many users pointed out, my girlfriend's extreme views of domestic cats are not representative of the vegan/vegetarian community as a whole. I do think that sometimes new vegans can be a little overzealous. In reality, most of us are just doing the best that we can to not hurt animals. I did not expect this to generate such a big debate in the comments. So, we broke up. Obviously, I would never, ever give up my cat Mittens. Many users said that this situation was about control, not veganism, and looking back, I do see a pattern of control on my girlfriend's part, and I guess I was blind to it. I called my girlfriend and said I was not willing to give up Mittens under any circumstances, and given the recent issues we'd had and our incompatible views, I thought it was best that we parted ways. I said she deserved a partner that shared her values. She then asked if we are breaking up. I said yes. There was some anger on her end, but otherwise, the situation went better than I expected. So yeah, that's it. Oh, and they posted a picture of Mittens.
Aww.
I'll put this in post.
At least, I would call it a happy ending, but at least there's no vegan lady out to murder Mittens.
Can I just say, the person who wrote this, the OP of this, we've been ranking the assholes of tonight. They are the nicest person.
Oh,
They
for
handled
sure.
this situation so well. Well, because like he didn't immediately disregard her. She said he tried to talk to her. He went to other vegans. He made sure to clarify, like, hey, even though my girlfriend had extreme views, doesn't reflect the whole community. And then he was brief about it. He's like, hey, you deserve someone who shares those views. I don't. We're breaking up.
I
That
just
was so mature of him for being
I know.
22.
I just love the idea. It's like I got to go refer to, with the vegan council just to see if they share the same views as my girlfriend. Like, hold up a second. Let me fact check this with some other vegans.
But where does vegan girlfriend rank on our asshole tier list?
Vegan girlfriend Karen.
I know where I'd put her.
Where?
At the bottom.
Yes.
She sounds unpleasant. She might be the person I want to talk to the least out of anyone on this list, but the one I'm least afraid of.
Oh no, for sure.
Does that make sense?
Not scary Karen, who will definitely.
She didn't harm a cat.
I agree with that number 4 spot. That she is.
Number 1 is still destroying the family.
Gone nuclear.
Ooh, this next one is about siblings.
Oh, what fun! I hate mine all. They all suck.
You're in my top 3 siblings.
Yeah, you're in my top 4.
Am I the asshole for suggesting that my sister chose an easy love?
I don't like where this is starting off. You can kind of tell if they're gonna be an asshole through the title. I feel like.
Like, Cat Lady's title was like, for setting boundaries. It's like, no, you're not the asshole for setting boundaries. You're the asshole because you sprayed a cat with the hose. Like, whenever it's vague like that, it's like, oh, you're probably the asshole. My younger sister and I were very close when we were young, but not so much now. I was born into a fairly well-to-do Hindu family. I fell in love and married a Muslim man, and thus had to convert to his religion. My family was pretty pissed off that I converted, but we've kept in touch. Recently, my sister announced that she was in love with a guy she'd met while trekking, and they had plans to marry. My mom invited me for a girls' day, just me, her, and my sister at my parents' home for a fun day. My sister began to talk about her fiance, how at first they hated each other, but then fell in love, etc., etc. I was happy for her. You know, friends to lovers is my favorite trope, Sam. It's a solid trope. Not a fan?
It's okay. It's okay.
It all began when I asked what religion he was. Imagine my surprise when she said that he was Hindu and the same community as our parents. That would mean that it would make my father absolutely over the moon. I asked her if she was sure she loved him because it seemed unbelievable that she would meet someone from the same small community as our parents and fall in love. She got angry and told me that she was absolutely sure she was in love with him. I suggested that maybe she thought she was in love because it was easy and there were no challenges involved. I explained to her that if she was truly in love, she wouldn't choose someone so obviously a match. It was as though our parents chose him from a catalog. She told me that it didn't matter. She loved him, and that I was being rude. I told her that I wasn't. I was just looking out for her and didn't want her to bear the brunt of societal expectations on who to marry.
This lady sounds like she's mad because her sister found love. That's it.
She seems jealous.
Hella jealous. Why?
I then asked her if she was marrying him to appease our parents. At this point, my sister blew up on me and began fuming, saying she was not a kid, she didn't need to appease anyone, etc., etc. At this point, my mom told me, not her, to get out of the house. Later, my sister told me never to contact her again, nor ever see her face or come to her wedding. She called me toxic. I was just looking out for her.
I think she's a little more than toxic.
Wow.
Like, you can't. I like how there's no, like, congratulations on your, like, getting engaged. Nah, you don't like this guy. You made him for my parents.
Yeah.
Nah.
Also, like, what a weird question to ask. Like, imagine, like, I'm meeting your girlfriend for the first time, and, like, we're talking, and I'm like, oh, by the way, what religion is she?
It just sounded like they're looking for a fight. That's it. They're just looking for something that it seems like they're still mad. Like, I mean, we can't relate. We're not that religious, but it's just like,
Or married.
or married.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing about this is she's such a hypocrite.
Yeah.
It's so hypocritical. It's so hypocritical that you are gatekeeping true love. You're mad that your parents did not approve of your marriage because of religion. And so you're not approving of her marriage because of religion.
Yeah, no, put that way. And then she only kicked out me, not her. Yeah.
Yeah. You're the one who started it.
Oh.
Man. Here's the thing too. She has some like romanticized idea of what marriage is, that like, oh, you have to overcome tragedy. If your parents approve of your partner, it's not true love. That's what it sounds like, right? Like, I suggest.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
I explained to her that if she was truly in love, she wouldn't choose someone who's obviously a match. It makes too much sense that you guys would be in love.
Nah, you guys like each other. You guys like each other. No, you don't. You gotta hate each other. You gotta fight. You gotta break up at least 3 times. Only then can you.
Only then. What's that? Is he exactly your type? No, it will never work out. No. Also, I may be reading too deep into this, but it starts off saying like my younger sister and I were very close when we were young, but not so much now. I don't think this is the first time that you have started an argument for no reason. I don't think this is a new thing, because the sister jumped to, hey, never talk to me again. Don't come to the wedding.
I was going to mention that, where it's just like, maybe that incident alone, where it's like, okay, maybe like you can talk, your siblings, right? We talk things out. But I feel like, nah, that was definitely charged. There's definitely, this has happened more than once.
Yeah. Let me think of red flags in a relationship. My parents like them. We have stuff in common. We get along really well. We don't fight that much. I think she's up there. She didn't do much. It's just the fact that she started shit for absolutely no reason.
Definitely above the cats.
Definitely above both cats.
Yeah.
I think she's strongly in the middle of our list.
So right in the middle, she's number 3.
Right in the middle. Okay. This is our last story of the day. You ready?
Best for last.
This comes from r/entitled parents. I put vegetables in all of my food, so my roommate's kid won't eat them. The mom is upset. I posted this in another forum, but that received a lot of comments telling me to post it here as well. I, 26F, live in a rented house with a single mother, 30F, and her son, 6M. I had another person living with me, but they moved out and this mother moved in. I don't mind living with her and her kid. It's fine and we do our own thing. I spend a lot of time at my boyfriend's place or working, and our work schedules collide, so we never really interact that much. But when we do, it's fine. No issue there. I want to start with saying that she clearly struggles financially, but I don't think that's an excuse for what she does, because I don't make a lot of money either. I've noticed that my food would go missing, or portions would be taken from it. I assumed it was her kid, so I asked her if she'd stop him from eating my food. I was calm about it, and she just said she would. It didn't really upset me when it first started, they're a kid, but it started to get annoying when I'd get home from work and expect to have a meal's worth of leftovers still in the fridge, only to see it picked through or just gone. I kept bringing it up and she started to get annoyed with me constantly talking about it. Just from observing them, I realized that neither of them ever eat vegetables, and judging by the food that would get picked through and the food that would be untouched, anything with green vegetables in it was avoided. Orange chicken would be good, but orange chicken and broccoli would be untouched. So, I started putting vegetables in everything. I find vegetables delicious. And anything green, or anything that wasn't a potato, does not get eaten. So I can mix some bell peppers into the food and it would be fine. I make a big portion of vegetables pretty frequently, so I just started sprinkling it into anything I eat. If I had leftover mashed potatoes, I'd pour some green beans in and mix it up. If I had leftover cheesy bacon fries, I'd pour broccoli over it and mix it in. Usually, my homemade stuff has vegetables in it, but I started making sure everything did. I made a pot of mac and cheese, the kids' favorite thing, and poured in roasted Brussels sprouts, which is actually delicious to me, and now I'm even eating more vegetables, so it's a win-win. But the mom has been seemingly more annoyed when we're all home, especially when I made a pot of mac and cheese. She was in the living room and saw me get out the Brussels sprouts and said, "What are you gonna do with that?" as I poured them into my pot of food. She said I was being greedy and annoying, to which I replied, "Man, I just like Brussels sprouts." And that was it. She said, "We need food," and I told her, "Go get some then." Or stop buying only prepackaged things and your money will go further. I think she sees this as some big act of revenge against her and her kid, but I simply just want to be able to eat my food. Also, I want to add that sharing is not the issue. My issue is expecting to have food there and then it's not. So often I'd be working a long day and get home expecting to have a meal's worth of food and it all be gone. Or I wake up in a rush and had my food ready to eat in the morning only to find it is now gone. So now I have to skip breakfast. If she would simply text me sometimes and say, "Hey, is it okay if we eat such and such?" I would know, and I would know to make other plans. I would stop for food or know that I have to whip something up when I get home. Also, I think eating the last portion of someone else's food is crazy rude. If someone makes a big pot of something and you ask for a serving, sure. But if someone made something and then there's only one serving left and you eat it without permission, that's evil as hell.
My roommate and I have one rule. We can mess with each other anytime. Mm-hmm. There's one thing we don't touch of each other's. That's each other's food. That is a serious bro code violation.
I think this is something a lot of people struggle with, especially like roommates who don't share bank accounts. Or like, I think when you start keeping track of stuff, it means that boundaries have been crossed. Because, like, if I'm heading to the grocery store, I'll be like, "Hey, roomie, need me to pick you anything up?" And I don't think I've ever Venmo charged them for that. It's just like, "Hey, I'm already heading to the store." As long as it's not like, "Yeah, here's 12 things I need." But usually they're like the other day, my roommate went to the store, I was making curry and realized, "Hey, can you pick up an onion?" They're not going to Venmo charge me for 79 cents. Right? And I think it's a similar thing to food. Where it's like, yeah, just ask. I see the entitlement. This is the right subreddit for it. Because it is so entitled. And I'm surprised they put up with it. And they had a good solution where it's like, okay, I'll just eat vegetables.
And I love how they don't go, a healthier food for my kid? I'll keep eating. Nah, Brussels sprouts? No way, Jose. Not putting that in my body. Not putting that in my body. Not in my kid's body. Why would I even feed my kid green beans and mashed potatoes?
I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about the fact that not only are they stealing food, but then they're complaining that the food that they were going to steal isn't to their palate.
It's
They're like,
healthier. It's better for them.
not only, like, they're pouring in vegetables. They're like, hey, I was gonna steal that. Come on. I didn't think of that. I think there are people, because there's people that you can deal with. Because it sounds like outside of this, they're fine because they don't talk to each other. That's a fine roommate. One of my roommates, freshman year of college, we disagreed on a lot of stuff politically, but at the very least, we were courteous enough to just never talk about it. And we didn't hang out much. I never got their contact information. We just didn't talk much. We lived in our own separate spaces. And that was that. Outside of like, hey man, could you do your laundry? It's starting to smell. Okay, yeah, that's it. But then on the other hand, you have people that, I was good friends with, and we had a lot of issues as roommates. I had one friend who, and money being a stressor here does play a huge part. Because I had a friend who was worried about money in college, and we were roommates. And they wanted to put up a timesheet to measure how long each of us took showers so we could more evenly split the water bill. And I'm like, dude, that's psychotic. Because I'm like, well, are we going to start taking into account, like for some things like groceries, we had a whole spreadsheet of like everything we bought at Costco. It's like, hey, I'm also going to use the milk. Put me on it to like split the milk between 4 of the 6 roommates. We're splitting the shredded cheese between 5 of the 6 roommates, and so on. That I can understand. It gets muddy when you start doing water. Because then I'm like, I mean, are we going to start measuring who turned on the lights in the living room and who spends more time there? Are we going to start measuring who cooks with the stove longer? Like, when does that end?
You don't eat another person's food without their permission. And I feel like the OP has been going, like, it sounds like they've let this happen for a while, And it's like
if I have one thing to say, to the mom's credit, well, maybe not to her credit, but like maybe a demerit on the original poster. When they say like, why don't you stop buying only prepackaged things and your money will go further? That felt kind of rude. You're not wrong. Because prepackaged meals are typically more expensive than like cooking stuff from scratch, but not everyone knows how to cook. Yeah. So it feels like a dick move. Like you could have said, hey, why don't, to be fair, it's also not on you to say this, but what a solution could have been like saying like, hey, if you want to contribute some to when I go out and buy groceries, you can have half of the meals I cook.
That is exactly what I was going to say. It's just like, hey, like, It sounds like the OP is willing to cook your food as long as you pay your part.
Yeah, because I do agree with them. Taking the last portion of someone else's food is a dick move.
It's diabolical.
Like, I try to be so careful about that. Like, I had to use yogurt for a curry the other day. And, like, I waited until my roommate was done with a call. I waited 30 minutes. I stopped cooking and knocked on their door. And was like, hey, can I use some of your yogurt in the fridge? Because I just wanted to ask permission.
Nah, that is not the food. Not the food.
See, here's where I'm torn with this on the list, though. I actually think this is pretty high.
Really?
I think the raw entitlement of it all is getting to me.
But it's like...
It's not just stealing food. It's stealing food and so brazenly thinking, I'm stealing food, but you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, but it's like if you like, I don't want to like I definitely think the mother is the asshole, but it's like it doesn't give her the right, but like single mom doesn't have a lot of money. It doesn't give you the right to take the food.
I'm not even talking. If it was just stealing the food, I would put it straight at the bottom. But it's the fact that it's stealing the food, and then what you pointed out, that it's also complaining about the food you are stealing and telling them to cook better food for you to steal. That
Yeah.
to me is so psychopathic.
Yeah.
That is what is like. If that's what you think about this, imagine if they were more upset at you. I might put this number 2.
It's like,
No, because at least like kicked out of the country guy is just wimpy. He's just afraid of commitment. The kicked out of the country guy wanted to be a hero, and realized he wasn't, and then backtracked. That he's wishy-washy. This person is being aggressively trashy.
like, could you?
It's like 2 different kinds of assholes.
Could you imagine getting like robbed at gunpoint, and the person goes, I'm gonna be here at the same time next week. Can you make sure to put more money in your wallet next time? It's like, what? Like the fuck you can say to me?
Dude, imagine like, a gunman comes into your home and like while he's robbing your place, he's like, hey, before I go, can you clean this up? Your place sucks. And honestly, like, I'm afraid I might trip over your clothes. You live in a pigsty. This is disgusting.
God.
Oh, what entitlement.
That is
But-
bad.
But we're united that the number 1 asshole of the night, Sam. Tell us.
The nuclear destroyed his family, Randy's wife, the kids. They will never have the same Christmas ever again.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have Christmas anymore. Oh no. Yeah, no, that definitely takes the cake. That's definitely number 1. Going
Number
nuclear.
1 is Nuclear Revenge Man. Yay. That's just who we think, though. That's our opinion. Let us know in the comments if you think anyone else was worse. Or if there's like a post that you think we should read, let us know too. And be sure to follow for more. Sam, do you have a jingle for us to end on?
Prepare the voice.
Oh, yeah, you gotta prepare.
Just improvise it on the spot.
We're going to keep trying them out until we find one that
Okay.
works.
It's nothing better to do with Sam and Charlie than watch podcasts.